Come on, Marianne, walking away.
Okay. And when? Okay, and welcome back. We are here with the. Okay, yes, that's how I act with my students all the time. Yes, we are back with the inch wide, mile deep portion. This is the us portion, the director's workshop. We all have amazing ideas, and we're all here to just elaborate. It doesn't have to be specifically with how to tune instruments, but just more fun icebreaker stuff. More casual things we can do. It doesn't have to be just for high school band or elementary. It works for anyone. So
it's going to be quick little few-minute chunks of information that directors have either gained from this workshop or previous experiences, and they're going to share it with y'all here in the room and y'all at home watching the live stream.
yes. First on spotlight is Marianne. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Marianne Spurlock. I've been teaching in Dimmitt the last 3 years, and I'm going to be the director in Booker this next year. My concept that I'm going to talk about is called scale karate. I know a lot of schools have their own versions of this. My first experience with this was when I was student teaching, and I mean, you just pick whatever scales that you think. I do this with my beginners at the end of the year, like after spring break. Turn it into a big competition. My kids, I think, only had like 6 scales and then a chromatic scale, and so I gave them whatever ranges I thought they would be comfortable with. And first off, we learned our tetrachords, and they had to pass off all of their tetrachords to become a young grasshopper. And they loved it. They loved it so much. And then after that, they were handed their scale sheet, and then they could start passing off their scales. And for every tetrachord they passed off, and for every scale they passed off, they got these cute little, I had these shiny multicolor emoji stickers, and the kids absolutely loved them. I would just put them on their papers next to whichever one they passed off. And whenever we got to the scales, they also got to sign these big posters. So I didn't have the scales in any particular order, so the students could just kind of go like, oh, like my clarinets could be like, oh, the B flat scale is super easy because it doesn't cross the break. And so they could do that one first, and then that would be their white belt. But it wouldn't have to coincide with, like, not everybody's white belt was the same. So as long as you passed off one scale, you got your white belt, and you got to sign the big poster that said white belt in the hallway. And I had little ribbons that we tied onto their instruments. So they got to, so every day whenever you walked in, you could see the wall of posters with the kids' names on them that had passed off their belts so far. Plus they were walking around with all of these ribbons tied to their instruments, showing off which belts that they got. And they had a super fun blast with it and turned it into a competition. And it was really fun, and it got them interested in learning scales. And that's really all I have on that.
Hello everybody, my name is Alan Murray. I teach community college in Southeast Kansas, but I do a lot of clinics with junior high, choir, and now band, and high school. Recently this spring, we had a combined band and choirs all-day festival, and I wanted to get everybody from 3 different schools to get a really fast icebreaker so they could, start working as a team. We started at 7 in the morning with high school kids. They didn't want to be up. So rock, paper, scissors war, does anybody know it? Some of you might know. Rock, paper, scissors war is literally the game rock, paper, scissors. You get everybody together. It's one-on-one. Whoever wins goes on and finds somebody else to do the rock, paper, scissors war. And the person that loses has to become their cheerleader. So they start chanting that person's name, so they start to learn other people's names. And you want to get to the one rock, paper, scissors war champion. It took less than 7 or 8 minutes with 120 students to find the champion, and it gets louder and louder and louder. And it was in the auditorium, a 1,500 seat auditorium, and they were screaming and great. And then it was like, okay, get your instruments, let's go now, let's start tuning. And boom, instantly they were awake, they were alive. It was a great thing. So rock, paper, scissors. I think we did best out of 3 for everybody. So whoever wins. Make sense?
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kristen Stout. I teach at a public school between Dallas and Fort Worth in the Metroplex. Teach at Euless Junior High. I want to talk about note cards, positive reinforcement, and creating your own narrative. Something that I started that actually developed from COVID. I had a great group of 9th graders that I needed to get their end of year award, and I thought, I really miss these kids. This was going to be a great group of kids. And so I had some note cards made that had our logo on it, and then I just wrote a handwritten note to each of those 9th graders, just lamenting over the year that we missed, all the fun music that we would be playing, how well we would have done at UIL, those kinds of things, and sent that off with their medal. Jumped to the next year where I had a lot of kids who were online and a lot of kids who were in class. So we had a hybrid model. I was losing a lot of kids online, and I could tell. So I wanted to reach out and just let them know, hey, I see you online. You're working hard for me as best as you can, because online band is not ideal. So thanks for hanging with me. And so I wrote a handwrote note card to them, has our logo on it. Parents saw that in the mail. Parents started buying into my program a lot more than just, oh yeah, I missed out, she's funny at concerts. So they started seeing, hey, I really appreciate, they started seeing the language that I used with their kids of how positive I am with them, how I'm recognizing their student. And so I started getting this new narrative for my program, about my program, to the point where we're at now, where I'm starting to use a lot of social media to monitor my narrative. And so you can see right now, I'll write it. So you can spell Euless. We have an Instagram account. And you're welcome to go ahead and look at that right now. No, that's not it. Jeez. Sorry. At Stallion Band. EJH. So if you want to pull that up right now, if you have Instagram, I have kids who have Instagram, have lots of Instagram accounts, and then I have some kids who are young babies and their parents don't trust them with Instagram yet, so they'll tell me, oh, Miss Stout, I don't have an Instagram, but my mom does, and I made her sign up. Great. It's encouraged for parents to sign up. I have incoming 7th graders, because we start in the 7th grade, incoming 7th graders that after their band tryout to know what instrument they're trying on, I had this posted up on our bulletin board. They got to see, oh, they have an Instagram page. Let me sign up for it. So I already have incoming 7th graders and some incoming 7th grade band parents already signed up on that Instagram page. And then this also led to me doing shout outs of former members, taking pictures of our high school program. And then I started having kids try to join my personal Instagram account. I'm like, don't like that. That's not comfortable for me. So I made a kid-friendly one. And what's really cool about my kid-friendly one, it's Stouty_Stout. It's my last name. Stouty Stout is a college nickname. Anyway, you should be able to see it. I talk a lot about my nephews, nieces, dogs, all those kinds of things in class. And so this is a way that they actually get to see that and see that I'm a real person and see the fire in my backyard that we're, chilling out, whatever. Videos of my terrible dog named Cilantro. It's kind of a thing. So you get to see that. And so it's just created a lot better positive narrative for my program.
I'm Gary Owens, and I teach in Levelland Middle School. I've taught for, I think, 34 years, something like that. 25 of those were high school band. And then my son got into, we had to move from South Texas for my dad. He was really ill. We grew up in Odessa. Anyway, so when I left Cuero down in South Texas, I just started doing middle school, and that's the time my son got into band, and so it worked perfect there. Anyway, I steal everything. I don't have original thoughts. And one of the things I do is I take the fingering chart. The very first thing we do, my 7th and 8th graders get this in the spring, my 6th graders get it. And I number everybody playing number 18 on the fingering chart. It's kind of a cheat. It's a whole lot cheat. Instead of saying concert F, because some will get it, a lot won't. just reality. So I just say, find concert F, and I tell them which number, or I actually give them this. Number 18 is always concert F, and first thing we do is go down from 18 down to 11. That's the first scale we start doing, is chromatic scale, period. We start with that. So we'll do all kinds of variations, going up, going down, whole notes, whole rest, half notes, quarter notes, all kinds of stuff. And then we'll start extending the range, going down, going up, and stuff like that. You'll notice the colors and the woodwinds, especially the clarinets, they have colors, and I think some of you probably do. I put little tape on there. Some people put dots on them. I couldn't get the labels to stay, so I just put 3M tape on there. But they have it, and I said, what color? Okay, blue key, red key, green key, whatever, okay? And so like, I don't know if this is the correct one. So anyway, that was that. The other thing, and I do on the brass fingerings, I go in and write positions, and we do positions for all the brass. I don't care what it is. This is kind of old. I've updated a little bit. Our scales are different now. But I write the positions in. Because I go back to when I was in 7th and 8th grade learning scales, and I keep everything. I've kept stuff from forever. And I wrote fingerings in. But I know the names. Some of our kids will, some of them will. So I just go in and cheat. So I don't have to constantly go, you're fingering it wrong. Look, and so they start making those, going and doing that. And so they can all play the scales. They'll get the connection. They will get the connection. And then I write the positions up there, and then we practice with our beginners going, okay, here we go, positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 and 7 are louder because trumpets kick the sides out on 6 and 7. So they go in and do that. And then we'll practice it going up and down, and they memorize them real fast. The other quick little tidbit is I use, and some of you may do it too, I learned a few years ago, I use a microphone in class. So I don't speak like this, because I know when I'm going up there, I motivationally speak very loud. Okay? And sometimes I get real animated. I know that. So for a sensor for me, I put the speakers on, and if I can start hearing my voice, I know, ooh, back off. Just a little bit. But it also helps the kids in the back 2 rows hear me really easily, and I can speak softly and calmly. And when we're playing things in class, if we're playing and I want to say something to the saxophones, but they're 4 rows back or 3 rows back, they can hear me while they're playing, and then they go, oh, okay. But I don't have to shout it out either. So I would encourage getting a wireless microphone. If you've got something, a Bluetooth connection, stick it in and use that thing, because it really helps. I saw another teacher in another class, just regular class, that used the speaker thing, and then I did a little research and found out that kids do better when they actually hear your voice like that. So I would say $30.
Trevor, if you want to, you ready?
Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Ryan. I'm from the Austin area. I have been teaching elementary music the last couple of years, looking for middle school band jobs now. And this is a trick I use to get my students and my private students, like my private horn students, to use their voices and hum and sing. So, whoa, ah! Ah! Oh, sorry, Hand Llama. I didn't realize you were coming out here. This is our Hand Llama. You can make your own Hand Llama by shaking out your hand, sticking your pointy finger and your pinky in the air, and pushing its mouth out like that. If you want to be really cool like me, you can make double Hand Llama. And our Hand Llama is just learning how to speak. He is just born, so he doesn't really know what he's doing. So we need to look at his name and teach him how to speak. So class, what does this letter sound like? Your Hand Llama say, And Hand Llama, we're going to use that sound that's called a hum. Say hum. Hum. And all we're going to do is we're going to open our mouth to say this letter. What do you think this letter sounds like, class? Ah. We don't want it to sound like ah, like we heard first. We want to refine our pretty voices and say ah. Now, Hand Llama, can you hum for us? Ah. are so loud. Can we try that again? Wonderful. Do you hear that filling up the room in here? If your hand llama is a little bit shy, will you say, "Hand llama, you can do it"?
Hand llama.
Hand llama, will you fill up the room with your sound?
Hand
Will you fill up the room with your sound?
Yes.
Notice how the hand llama's jaw just goes dropping because he heard his voice and it sounded so great. Can you drop your jaw? Wonderful, hand llama. Now, hand llama, we have to sing happy birthday to you because you were just born. Will you guys sing happy birthday to your hand llama using that same voice? Ready? Happy birthday to you. You can do it, hand llama. Let's sing along. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear hand llama. Happy birthday to you. Oh, we've got some hand llamas out here that already mastered their harmonization. With the hand llama, if your students are kind of timid with the word singing, you could say, use your llama voice to say happy birthday to the llama. Well, I don't want to say happy birthday. Does anybody have a better way to phrase that that might encourage students to not think about it as singing but still trick them into singing? Maybe use your llama voice in happy birthday, just like that. Yeah, with the hand llama, I've noticed that it works really well for my younger students and one-on-one with my private lesson students. Like, band kids are goofy anyway, so they'll really eat into that. And I think that as you continue going, then you can say, okay guys, let's use our llama voice as we're counting. They might not need their llamas anymore to help them out, but that'll get them projecting their voice more. And if you ever want to sing through a chorale or something like that, they won't be afraid to use their voices.
Hello everyone, my name's Trevor Musa. I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana. I teach at Lafayette Renaissance Charter High, and I want to show you a few apps I've used to help myself learn woodwind fingerings and overall instrument intonation tendencies. As a brass player, I did not know anything about woodwind instruments, and woodwind instruments scare me. But to make it a little less scary, from my mentor teacher when I was student teaching, I found this app called Fingerings, and I think it's only an Apple app, unfortunately. So when you look at the app, it shows you a very good image of the instrument, shows you the note, where it's on the staff, and for clarinet, shows you that's a concert B flat. And you can also move it to alto if you have an alto clarinet, same concert pitch, bass clarinet, contra. And then you can have alternate fingerings, so some notes will have alternate fingering. Has a trill fingering option, shows you the trills.
Wow.
And if you were playing this on piano, it shows you what piano key to play. Now you can move, and then if you need to know which key is which, there's an option at the top right to show you what keys are which, if it loads, and which hand is which. And it does that for all the instruments. So if we go to bassoon, it shows you the keys. And also it shows you that same C for clarinet, that's the B flat for bassoon. So say, oh, what's this note on clarinet? This B flat there and such. Same for saxophone and all the instruments. And trombone has tenor and bass trombone. Tuba just has B flat, C, E flat, and F. So that's that app. Now, it doesn't have everything you can do with fingerings. There's another good app I found from another mentor teacher or website called Woodwind Fingering Guide. So let's go. It's a free website. This guy posted all these fingerings. So let's go to saxophone. And now you have a basic fingering chart, alternative fingerings for the whole range. If you want to get freaky, you can do quarter tones. And a trill fingering chart and then third. So let's go to the alternate fingerings. Let's do second octave. And it shows you at least 6 or so different for the D, E flat, and then it says what they do. Do you want it basic? Do you want a fuller sound? Do you want tune? is it better to go from this note to that note? And it shows you the sources of the people who put those apps in place and showed all these fingerings. And it does it for all the woodwind instruments. So if you ever want to get into recorder or tin whistle, you can do that too, but it has all the basic band instruments. And now, another book I had bought a while back, and I just found this app yesterday. It's called this app. Let me go back to the name. Tuning for Wind Instruments by Shelly Jagow. It's a book you can buy on GIA Music. And what it does, it's also a fingering chart, but let's go to flute. And it shows, on the left you see sharp, flat, very flat. Green, it's you add a fingering. And it gives you little tips on what to do to fix certain notes. So for flute, all the low notes are flat. Tells you what to do. Now let's go to the super high notes. This one's really sharp. You can add these fingerings to help make it sound better. And then some notes will have multiple fingerings. I don't know if I'll find one in this. But if you want to know what the best tuning notes for your students would be, here you go. If you click top right, it'll say, all right, best notes for band, best note by yourself. And this also has a key diagram just like the other app I showed. And then this little eye tells you different ways you can fix tuning. So for flute, it tells you what to do if you're flat, if you're sharp, and does that for all the instruments. They only have one for one clarinet, so you can't do much for bass. But saxophone, this would apply to all saxophones, all the band instruments. And that's it.
What's the name of it again?
It's a Tuning for Wind Instruments by Shelly Jagow. It's an app based on her book. I would buy the book too because it teaches you how to teach tuning. It has a description of the harmonic series and PDFs of all these fingerings, so you can just pass out sheets. And a accountability chart so students can say, oh, I'm this sharp on this note, I'm getting better and better, or what's my tendencies?
What was her name again? The author?
Shelly Jagow, Jagow. Shelly Jagow. All right, thank you.
Trevor, what was the first app called again?
Fingerings, be careful when you look for it, you will get some not safe for
We've already found it.
Microphone.
It's only on Apple. Sorry.
If you search for band fingerings, you get cleaner results.
Curious, so here we go.
All right, hi, so I'm Derek Eldridge. I just finished my 6th year teaching middle school band, and I was crazy and woke up to a beautiful hike this morning. I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about teaching younger students transposition, because I always tell my kids, whoever invented the instruments was not thinking about beginners in mind when it came to putting them all together. So what I did is I created a poster and hung it up in my room where I had the circle of fifths, and I made this thing huge. What I did, and I can post this in the Google Classroom too, so that way y'all can get it. But I put in the middle of the poster some recycling arrows with the number of how many spaces over they need to move. So my trumpet and clarinet players, if I say play a C, they know that they need to go 2 clockwise around the poster. And we have to talk about what clockwise and counterclockwise means because they don't know what that means anymore. But yeah, and so again, the biggest thing is that I wanted to make sure that this was easy to read. So I used as much butcher paper as I can. All of these are printed on 11 by 17 papers. I tried to make the font as big as I can without it switching over to 2. I wanted to be able to stand in the back of my band hall and be able to see it with my old eyes. So hopefully they were good. I also made sure to put all the C instruments up there because I didn't want them to feel left out. When I made this poster, I had a really good relationship with my percussionist. I would mess with them a lot. So I put a Fisher-Price xylophone on there. Yeah, so I love them. They knew that I was messing around. But yeah, one of the first lessons that I teach at the beginning of the year is how to read this chart. We practice. I say, if I say concert F, if you're a saxophone player, what note are you going to play? And I ask the whole band this. The whole band gets used to reading for every instrument. So it's not like a perfect way to teach transposition, but it does get them going quick. So after I give that lesson, I do not tell them, I don't give them the answer much for the rest of the year. I try to make them use the tool. And the common ones like concert A flat, concert D flat, they start to memorize the concert ones, what that is for their instrument. So there's that.
Hi, my name is Jaden Briscoe, and I'm the band director for Shamrock ISD. I teach 4th grade all the way up to 12th grade. And I think as band people, as band directors, I think we make really good band musicians, but not always just good all-around musicians. You know, we make our kids very good at going from this spot to this spot and play these notes, this notes, all over and over, but maybe not independent musicians. And one thing that, while I was reflecting on my time in college, that really made me into an independent musician was chamber music. And I feel like chamber music for me is the thing that got me to where I am. And so I was talking to Tam Marie about this. I wasn't originally going to present today, but she wanted me to, I mentioned that I use the Garner Ensemble Project. This is a great resource that's on Band Directors Talk Shop. I think there's 2 parts to it. It's the Garner Ensemble Project, and what it is it's a bunch of flex ensembles. So he has duets, duettinos, trios, quartets, and I think that's as far as it goes up. But with each one, he has it for C instruments, B flat instruments, tuba, F instruments, everything. I found that this year we did that right after solo and ensemble. So if the kids wanted to play their solo from solo and ensemble for their parents, they could. You know, it wasn't just for a competitive thing. It was for their own personal satisfaction, showing people that they could really play. I let them play those duettinos, and the great thing about that is that I have a lot of family in my band, and so brothers got to play with sisters, cousins got to play with cousins, even if it was a tuba and a flute, that happened. And it was super weird, but it was super great because all of the parts are right there. You know, they just got to play. They have them all from all different kinds of skill levels, starting at super, super, super easy quarter notes, all the way up to, you know, some 16th note-y marching stuff. What else? Also on those concerts, I let them do pop tunes. You know, you always have that one funny saxophone kid who knows all the licks and everything. And well, I say, you know what? Why don't you learn the entire song? Why don't you actually, you know, do more than Careless Whisper? But if I'm okay with Careless Whisper if he plays the whole thing. I think that's really cool if he transcribes it or does something like that. So this is also a time for them to play music that they want. And after I did it this year, the community just loved it. The kids loved it, and they're really looking forward to it next year. I had one guy do Super Mario Bros. On the marimba, and everybody's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And so they're already thinking about songs they could do next year. But the biggest thing is that family, no matter what instrument, no matter what your friend is, you know, I was a big friend with a percussionist, had a saxophonist play with a marimba player, you know. But it was great, and they got to do it together in a special way. So that's that.
Does anyone else have anything to share? Okay, great. Because you'll go after me then. Okay. So this isn't anything groundbreaking. This is what I just love to do with my elementary students. I would do a game called, oh gosh, I forgot what it was called. But the kids loved it so much. It's Forbidden Pattern. There you go. Thank you for helping me in the back. I was very Kodai heavy. I would try to make them sing even though they'd be too cool to sing, whatever, because they're in 5th grade, I guess. But what they did love was, you know, just any competition. And this, like a competition, will obviously help, you know, they'll forget about singing, they want to win, of course. So what I would do is, I would do solfege. So I would usually do 3 patterns, like do, do, re. Just started off easy. But the thing was, there's one I would, depending on the like difficulty or the level of the class, I'd write on the board, or I would just say it. We're not saying mi, re, do. Let's all sing that all together. Ready? Mi, re, do. Oh, we're obviously saying it, but I'd make them sing it. So zip it, lock it, put it in your pocket. We're not saying that one. So let's actually sing this time. Can everyone sit nice and tall? I want to use your hands. I know we're band people, but we can also appreciate the art of choir, because you never know. Maybe your kids also do choir. Maybe that's like, wow, like I do this in that class too. Let me show off. So let's all sing together. Ready? I'll do 3 and then you do 3. So it'll go do, do, re, do, do, re, 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 mi, re, re, mi, mi, re, do, mi, re, do. I love your beautiful singing voices, but if y'all listen, we said forbidden patterns. We said the forbidden pattern, which was mi, re, do. Okay, for realsies, that was a practice one. I always do a practice one because there's always that one person who was not paying attention and they're already crying. So let's do a real one. Let's do, repeat after me. So, fa, mi. So,
Sol, fa, mi.
Zip it, lock it, put it in your pocket, throw it away. And usually everyone would be standing up like, I'm ready, looking at their friends. So, okay, ready? Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Do, sol, mi.
Do, sol, mi.
Mi, fa, sol.
Mi, fa, sol.
Sol, fa, do.
Sol, fa, do.
Sol, fa, mi. Oh, sorry, you lost this round. So then people would sit down, and then let's keep going, okay? We'll go a little faster. So for me. Oh, sorry. Just because I'm starting again doesn't mean it's fair game. Sorry. So then there'll still be a couple people, and you just keep going faster and faster, and then it just riles them up. You already feel the adrenaline, right? Like, I know some of y'all already feel it. Some of y'all already looking like, what's the next one? So I would just do that. Just, appreciate the other art of choir. Make the kids, show hand signs. Teach them a little about other things than what's usually taught in class. So that's, I guess, you could do it. That's pretty flexible.
You can do it with rhythms too.
Rhythms too, yes. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I don't know how many of you know the app Ningenious, but we use that at school. They just came out with a personalized, like, each device. I just tried a trial version of it, didn't get very far into it, but I'm buying it for my band this year. It's $99. I'm not like sponsored by them. I just like love what they do.
How do you spell it?
Ningenious. I will see if I can pull up on there in a second, but the Chromebook version, that's what we use. It's completely different, but it's $99, as many students as you can possibly add, which I'm all about. But I started off by using the iPad app. I have one iPad, and that is my own. And I would put it, if you don't know, on iPad, you can like click 3 times, make it so it doesn't change screens. And I would pass my personal iPad around because at that point, I trust the kids. They know if they break my stuff, I'll break them. But yeah, they know. But it's super awesome. The app itself, maybe it's $30, best $30 I've ever spent. You can make your own things. So if you do, like, when we start, we learn 3 notes. I can make one that's just 3 notes. But say I pick trumpet and easy, I can go to fingering. It's our first 3. So if I hit play, I confirm that it's my name. Each kid had their own. What I do is I go through and you tap the fingering that matches. If you mess up, you will like hit the little wall, be stunned for a second, and then you get a second try. If you hit twice, you won't get it. But then you keep going, and at the end, you will get a belt. We did a board on our wall for each belt. The best thing is it's impossible to get the lowest belt. So no one, as long as you attempt it and you get one right, you will not get the lowest belt. Nobody's hanging out there in the lowest belt. You're automatically like in the second to lowest, which is a huge win. Nobody's like, I'm a big loser. So there I am getting my blue belt, and I didn't hardly answer anything. You make it harder. And for those kids who are going to achieve a lot, I made the glitter board. And I had a piece of glitter poster board. I laminated it, and to get on the glitter board, you have to beat my score. I go in, I make sure I get a black belt on everybody. That's incredibly hard on the oboe. But I made sure I got a black belt, and then from there, I didn't really try again. The kids don't know that. I should be able to annihilate them at all times. But I went and I got my first black belt. I let it be. And I want kids to beat me. I want kids to prove to me I can be faster than Miss Murray. And when they do that, they get on the glitter board. And then I had a kid on trumpet who got scores that I would try. I'm like, okay, I gotta beat this kid. I literally could not beat this kid. And that was a cool bonding thing between he and I, because I would be like, I was up 2 hours last night playing this over and over and over. I cannot beat you, what the heck? And he's like, I'm just good at it, I don't know. So that's, bottom line, if you don't have anything but you have an iPad, buy it, pass it around. We know hey, today I'm starting in flutes. If we get through however long during warm-ups, I don't care. If they're working on this and they miss warm-ups or something, they're still learning. But they got the Chromebook one. Don't know what else it operates on, but I'm trying it out this fall. There are, let's see, besides this, there are, nope, that's not it. Note names and rhythms. Even if you don't like count the rhythms the same, it's nice because it gives the like general shape of it. And so you can kind of go through that way. And then you can also do the note names where instead of the fingering, you just match up with what you've got there. But all instruments are on here. And you can set up how you want. You can see the high scores. I obviously am only playing as myself, so you're not going to like see anything there. But I would go in periodically and be like, hey, Johnny's first place today. He gets the prize. So love Ningenious. It's awesome. I'll put it in the group message too. I don't know how to spell it, but it's how it sounds like. Whatever they're down for.
Ningenious Music?
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you show us what the app looks
Yes.
like on the
I got to
screen?
figure out how to get to that.
The app has a lot.
Yep,
more
there you go.
information.
NGM. And you can get class. That's what I got. That's the one you pay the most for because it has all the instruments. If you're a studio teacher, you can pay for just the saxophone Ningenious. But the class one works for me because I teach all the things. Love it. Best app we've ever had.
Thank you so much for tuning into this portion. Yes, Kevin?
Could I add just one quick thing to my presentation? I forgot one thing there.
Sure. I mean, sure, real
Do you want
quick.
to come up there?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't want to forget to mention that the reason that I had them sing happy birthday, especially for my horn students, is to assess whether they're able to hear pitches in their head and replicate them out loud. Because especially for horn and all the partials are so close together, I want to see where they're at with audiating, and the best way to do that is to have them sing it to you, those pitches. So then we'll work on it. Like, I want to introduce that it is singing at some point. If they're feeling uncomfortable about it, then I'll use llama voice at first, and then later when they're like super good at using their voices, I'll be like, wow, your llamas are like opera singers. They're crazy good. So you guys are singers, yeah.
Cool. In about 800 seconds, we will be having Flute 101 with Helen Blackburn.
Not even, we're gonna start a little early because.
Oh, a little early. Cut that in half. We'll start in 400 seconds.